This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Well, good morning. Another active weather day ahead of us. I'm Shannon Kogan.
And I'm Olivia Russell. And Tawana here telling us about that snow we'll see tonight.
I know. There's some people who are super excited about later on tonight, and others who are just like, again? We're doing this again? And yeah, it's okay. Either way, it's okay, because here's what we're seeing right now. Temperatures in the 20s and the low 30s. We are dealing with quite a few clouds overhead across the region to start off the day as well. Now, notice as we head over the next 12 hours, what we're going to be running into: some flurries flying, the clouds overhead, temperatures only into low to mid 30s for highs. So bundling up with the coat, the gloves, and even for some of you further to the south, the sunglasses will be helpful. But then we get into later on this evening, and here comes that accumulating snow. We'll watch those chances going up for the overnight hours into early tomorrow, and that is when, of course, we'll have more of the colder temperatures across the area. So everything that falls is going to stick. We see a better chance for 1 to 4 inches of snowfall for those of you underneath the winter weather advisory, which goes from 7 p.m. tonight to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the further north and northeast you are, the higher your totals look to be for later on tonight. But for this morning, Rob, only seeing a couple of flurries, and that's it.
Okay, Tawana, and that's a good sign there at 7:01 on your Thursday morning. Hi, good morning there. Glad to have you along. It is a clear commute this morning. Of course, that could change throughout the day and overnight. As Tawana was just saying, we're keeping an eye on the disabled vehicle. This is 71 South at I-265, the right shoulder there. People coming off there at a pretty good clip. You're going to want to watch your speed as you come off there. Also, the Snyder at New Cut Road, certainly a lot of construction out there that may catch you a little bit of a slowdown this morning. Our drive time commutes, they're still looking great right now on 65. If you're heading into the metro, 10 minutes or under at this point right now. The same coming from the southwest side of town as well. Also keeping a big eye on the pictures, the traffic cameras, nice, clear. It's pretty much light conditions, no tie-ups out there. We're going to keep an eye on it throughout the morning. Ladies, over to you.
Thank you, Rob. Today, the man accused of shooting 2 Kentucky State University students, killing one, is expected to make his first court appearance.
And we're learning new details this morning about the suspected shooter and the victims. Police say 19-year-old Dejon Darrell Fox Jr., a student from Indianapolis, was the student killed. And his mother says that he was fun-loving and a jokester.
All he do is make people laugh. I don't know too many people who dislike him. How could you dislike him? Like, he gonna get on your nerves until you like him.
Police say the other unnamed victim is stable but critical and getting medical care. Police say Jacob Bart of Evansville shot the 2 students after a fight. That is video of that fight. You see one person carrying what appears to be a bat, and then someone else shows up with a gun. Investigators say Bart is the father of a KSU student. Investigators haven't said what the fight was about or if the other victim is Bart's child. Fox's family says it's not fair. He had to lose his life.
He just wasn't cool. Even though he was 19, he was still like 15, baby. 16. Like a real baby.
Yeah, Bart is scheduled to be in court at 10 this morning on murder and assault charges. Classes and finals have been canceled for the rest of the week at KSU.
Kentucky State University students and staff gathered together for a vigil on campus yesterday afternoon to honor the victims of the deadly shooting. They gathered outside of Whitney Young Hall, where those 2 students were shot. We heard from a student who was on campus during the shooting and what he saw as students rushed in to help.
I saw a student performing CPR on another student, and then as more EMS and first responders started arriving, you see 5 students carrying an injured student out of Young Hall to the ambulance doors. So what's most important about this whole story is that those students are heroes and stepped out of their role to save a life.
Counseling services are being offered to students, staff, and faculty who have been impacted by the shooting.
We're learning more about the independent monitor team that'll be in charge of tracking progress and reforms inside LMPD.
The group Effective Law Enforcement for All, or ALEFA, held their first community meeting last night. The team will carry out police reform and public safety improvements that are part of Mayor Craig Greenberg's Louisville consent decree. It was created after the federal government scrapped plans for a consent decree with LMPD. ALEFA says it will work to address any issues detailed in a 2023 DOJ report on the department. That report found officers used excessive force, invalid warrants, unlawful stops, and discrimination. ALEFA says it will hold LMPD accountable and make recommendations if the department is not meeting its goals.
One of the things I really want everyone to take away is that we're committed. We're here and we're committed. This work matters. Every voice, every person, whether they were in this room or out in community and weren't able to make it tonight, they'll matter. And we're committed to this process.
Alifa says they want to host meetings at least every quarter. The group plans to return to Louisville to discuss some of their first findings in February. An exact date for that has not yet been set.
Today, a Louisville woman charged in the death of her baby will learn how long she'll be behind bars. Amber Winstead pled guilty to manslaughter charges in connection to the death of her 3-month-old child who drowned in a South Louisville hotel bathtub New Year's Day. An arrest citation said Winstead admitted to using drugs before getting into the tub with the infant. Winstead fell asleep in the tub and was woken up by another person hours later. During the time she was asleep, the baby was submerged in the tub and drowned. She'll be sentenced this morning at 9.
Indiana's state Senate will decide today whether or not they'll pass a new congressional map. The bill targets Indiana's current 2 Democratic U.S. House members and is designed to create a map that favors Republican candidates in 9 districts. It's a plan pushed by President Trump and supported by Governor Mike Braun. However, it's still not clear how Republicans in the Indiana Senate will vote. 16 GOP senators have publicly supported the bill, 14 have said they oppose it, and 10 have not revealed how they plan to vote on the chamber floor. Indiana's Constitution requires a majority of the 50-member Senate to approve legislation, meaning the Republican supermajority must get at least 26 votes, if all of the 10 Democrats vote no.
A Southern Indiana lawmaker who voted against changing the voting maps was the target of a bomb threat. Representative Ed Clear was one of 12 Indiana House Republicans who joined with Democrats last Friday to oppose a mid-cycle redistricting bill. Our partners at the News and Tribune report Clear was contacted by ISP last night. Police said there was a message a bomb had been planted outside of his home. Clear says that the threat was communicated electronically, and ISP confirmed the agency responded to Claire's house and no explosive devices were found. It is the boost President Trump hopes will bring relief to the nation's farmers, a $12 billion aid package.
The president made the announcement Monday, but some local farmers say they have more questions than answers. Rob Wells is back with a closer look. Rob.
Hi, Olivia. The White House says the relief is being supported through tariffs. The money would be paid out by February the 28th, and farmers would find out by the end of this month exactly how much will be in their checks. The aid package will include one-time payments under a new program administered by the U.S. Agriculture Department. This after President Trump's tariff targeting China and other nations severely impacted U.S. farmers by disrupting exports, especially soybeans, leading to some major income losses. The size of the $12 billion aid package, roughly the value total of U.S. soybean exports to China in all of 2024. One Southern Indiana farmer says the trade fight between the U.S. and China has definitely been affecting him.
No, there's been talk about we have a deal, but China won't confirm it. And, some of the exports have been happening here as the USDA gets caught up in some of its export news and flash sales. We've seen some of it come through, but it doesn't look like it's on the pace that it would need to be to meet the original deadlines that were discussed.
The same day that the president announced that farmer aid package, the U.S. Agriculture Department announced that a batch of U.S. soybeans was destined for China. China had purchased a total of nearly 3 million tons of soybeans since October. Baird says he doesn't know exactly how much he'll receive in the mail, but is happy for any help that the government can provide after one tough year. Shannon.
Thank you, Rob. Today, the Derby Festival's unveiling the design of its 2026 Pegasus pin as part of the 3rd annual Derby in December celebration at the Kentucky Derby Museum. It's a horseshoe-shaped pin. It is teal and trimmed in silver. This is the 54th edition of the pin. The horseshoe shape is a nod to the early Pegasus pin designs from the 1970s. The last time they had a horseshoe design was in 1983. And in recognition of another hallmark hue of the festival, the rubber back clasp for the pin is pink. These will be available at retail locations starting in March. And today's free Derby in December event runs from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Derby Museum, and the first 100 of these Pegasus pins for free.
I really like them this year.
Yeah, I like they're really cute.
Yeah.
And with the pink back.
Yeah, unique.
Nice. Well, if you're finalizing holiday travel plans right now, you are not alone.
We'll tell you what to expect on the roads and in the skies coming up.
Well, we're following this story this morning, hours after being fired. University of Michigan's head football coach Sharon Moore is now in custody.
We're also learning more about his connection to the University of Louisville. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is joining us now in the studio with details on that. Marissa.
Moore was on the coaching staff at U of L from 2009 through 2013. The University of Michigan fired Moore after they say he was, quote, engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Moore was arrested last night. Official charges have not been announced. Police say Moore was jailed pending a review of charges by prosecutors. Moore earned his master's degree at U of L and got his start in coaching. He worked as a graduate assistant in his first 3 seasons. Moore served as the tight ends coach with Coach Charlie Strong in 2012. After U of L, he went on to be at Central Michigan. The University of Michigan has not released details about the alleged encounter with the former staffer, but we'll continue to follow the story and update you as we learn more. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much. Okay, 7:12 right now on this Thursday morning, and today is another alert day.
Another alert day, not just cold, but snow coming in tonight.
Yeah, we'll be closely watching, of course, those snowfall totals as we get into tonight. Already have a winter weather advisory in place for those of you anywhere from Jasper to Seymour, back towards Frankfort and south towards Bardstown. So a lot of our region is included in this winter weather advisory that goes from 7 p.m. this evening through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Right now, though, we're just dealing with the clouds overhead, and you can see those clouds showing up on our SkyTrack camera as we look from downtown Louisville off towards the east. Kind of cool to see some of that sun trying to come up over the horizon right now, but we are not looking to see a lot of sunshine across the region, by the way, for today, because those clouds will be taking over as the morning goes along. Some flurries will be flying as well at times for your Thursday morning, but most of the Ohio Valley is relatively quiet. We have some snow showers and flurries in parts of Ohio and off into eastern Kentucky, but those are quickly fading. We're still keeping an eye on that clipper, that area of low pressure that will dive into our region later on tonight. As of right now, 30s for your morning temperatures, and we're going to stay in those low to mid 30s for highs this afternoon, keeping wind chills in the 20s across the region for today. So yes, a chilly, cloudy day with some of those flurries, especially later on this morning into the afternoon. Now, our main snow chance doesn't show up until after the sun goes down. So after 5 p.m., we'll be watching areas to our northwest closely to see that snow moving our way. So because of the snow, because of the accumulations possible, we have the alert day for tonight into early tomorrow morning. So from that 7 p.m. to 10 a.m. time frame. But we'll see that snow after about 5, 6 o'clock and keeping that chance high through about 4, 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. It still looks like most of that snow will dive in for the evening hours with a little bit of a mix on the more southwestern fringes of the snow band, and then things gradually fade from southwest to northeast as we get into early on your Friday morning. So the further north you are, the longer this snow will stay with you, and that also helps with keeping your accumulations a little bit higher. Let's talk a bit about those accumulations that we're expecting for the overnight hours. The further southwest you are, this is where we are going to be seeing less than an inch of snow. But as you quickly head to the northeast, total is closer to 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. Look a little bit more likely. There will be some counties in wave country that can see less than an inch of snow in our southern portions of that county, and then further to the north can get closer to 2 to 3 inches of snow. Woo, talking is hard today. But yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on these accumulations as the day goes along. Then we head into your Saturday. Another system brings even more of that snow for Saturday night into Sunday morning. Yes, we're going to be seeing that snow sticking. So by the time we get into Sunday, several inches of snowfall will be on the ground across a good chunk of wave country. And for your Sunday, with that snow around, temperatures are going to be frigid, highs only in the teens, climbing back into the 40s and 50s potentially by the middle and end of next week.
Thank you. The year-end holiday travel period is expected to set a new record this year. AAA projects more than 122 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home from December 20th through New Year's Day. 89% of travelers are expected to drive to their destinations. The rest will travel by air, bus, train, or maybe even a cruise. That'd be nice. This year's travel forecast is on track to surpass the 2024 record by nearly 3 million. AAA says Orlando, Florida is the top domestic end of the year holiday travel destination. Louisville-based U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers seized counterfeit jewelry arriving from Hong Kong and Taiwan. There were 3 shipments. One was headed to a residence on Staten Island in New York, another to Irvine, Texas, and another Houston, Texas. They contained fake Cartier, Rolex Cosmograph, and Audemars watches, and also Moncler and Chrome Hearts hats. If all the items had actually been real, that shipments would have totaled more than $18.5 million.
As holiday travel starts to ramp up, health leaders are issuing a safety alert. The U.S. will be ending the year with a possible second surge of measles cases. New data from the CDC shows 84 new cases of measles were reported nationwide in the past week. That's more cases than have been reported in a single week since April, which is when an outbreak in West Texas was at its peak. An outbreak in South Carolina is now driving the second surge. Kentucky has reported a total of 7 measles cases statewide so far this year. The most recent was reported in June. The vast majority of cases have occurred in unvaccinated people. We're learning more about the deadly collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge last year. The National Transportation Safety Board said a wiring error and other mishaps could have led to the collapse that killed 6 highway workers. In a final report, the agency said a misplaced wire label on the cargo ship caused a power failure that left the vessel without steering. Investigators say the crew was unable to restore power in time, and communication failures prevented workers from evacuating the bridge.
A Central Kentucky tow truck driver is being called a hero for stopping a suicide attempt. Late last month, Stefano Sloan was hauling a car across Tyrone Bridge in Versailles when he saw a young man who was threatening to jump, and there were some people there trying to talk him down. Sloan said the man warned him not to get any closer. That's when the man took a phone call and told the person on the other end that they wouldn't see him again. Sloan then tackled that man and held him down until first responders showed up.
He kept saying, let me go, let me go, let me do what I need to do. I told him, not today, not in this county, and not on my watch. I did tell him, I said, it ain't worth taking your life over. He goes, I have problems. I said, it's not worth it.
And at the most recent city council meeting, the police chief gave Sloan an official commendation for his actions. And a reminder, the National Crisis Lifeline is 988 if you or anyone you know needs assistance. If you shop for those groceries online, your bill could be getting bigger thanks to AI.
We'll explain how Instacart is using artificial intelligence to set different prices for the same items.
Well, Wednesday, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates again for a third consecutive time. The central bank dropped its benchmark lending rate by a quarter point to below 3.5%. The change will help drive down interest charges on things like credit cards, car loans. It may impact mortgage rates, too. This month's Fed meeting is the last before Chairman Jerome Powell's successor is named. Powell's term ends in May, but President Trump has said he's planning to name a new chair early next year.
You could be paying more for your online delivery every time you check out thanks to artificial intelligence. Instacart has used AI to set different prices for the same items, and it's led to some people paying more for their groceries. A new report says Instacart is using AI to determine how much is too much before a person decides to not buy the item. This is different than dynamic pricing, which is largely based on supply and demand. The report finds Instacart shoppers could pay roughly $1,200 more on average than other shoppers. More than 100 seniors now have a new place to call home after a multi-million-dollar renovation was completed on a historic West Broadway building. The Gateway on Broadway is now home to 116 affordable senior housing units, along with space for nonprofits and other businesses. The goal is to offer more affordable housing options around Louisville. Governor Andy Beshear says the renovations cost around $52 million.
I understand for a lot of Americans right now, it feels like no matter how hard you work, you just can't catch up. The groceries are too expensive. The family vacation just isn't in the budget. And a safe place to call home, oftentimes too expensive. It's not right, especially when it comes to our seniors.
Seniors have been moving in since late summer. More information on the project can be found in this story on wave3.com.
You can win $100 in free groceries during the holiday season. District 1 Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins is hosting a holiday grocery giveaway event. She's partnering with Kroger and the A1 All-Stars organization for this. 30 people will get the chance to get the $100 vouchers for Kroger stores. You can use them to shop for whatever you need at the shopping event December 12th at the Kroger on West Broadway. If you're eligible for the program, you can apply. Just go to the link in this story on wave3.com. Tonight, Santa and the Grinch will be in Shively for Light Up Shively. It's happening at the Heritage Community Building on Park Road. The event will start at 6 o'clock tonight.
The Kentucky Expo Center will be lit up this weekend for the annual Christmas Gift and Decor Show. It's happening inside South Wing C starting Friday through Sunday. The times for the show are on your screen right now. And this year's show will have more than 700 booths showcasing their holiday displays. Kids also get a chance to meet and take pictures with Santa Claus himself. Admission is free. We'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Kogan. Today, a man accused of shooting two Kentucky State University students, killing one, will make his first court appearance. Jacob Bard is charged with murder and assault. Police say he pulled out a gun after starting a fight with a group of students. Investigators say he shot and killed 19-year-old Dejon Darrell Fox Jr. and shot another unnamed student. That victim is still in the hospital. Police say Bard is the father of a KSU student. Investigators haven't said what the fight was about or if the unnamed student is Bard's child. He's expected in court this morning at 10. Here's meteorologist Tawana Andrew, and yep, it is another alert day.
Yes, and while most of the daytime hours will be quiet, it's later on tonight that we're going to start to run into some issues. So we're giving you that heads up now. Plenty of clouds overhead this morning, seeing some sunlight there off into the distance, but not a lot of sunshine in our forecast for today. Those clouds continuing to take over our region. We will watch for some flurries at times this morning into the afternoon. Temperatures right now in the upper 20s and the low 30s. It doesn't look like we're going to climb very much throughout the day, only ending up in the low to mid 30s for highs this afternoon. Watching for those flurries for the daytime hours, but once that sun goes down, that is when we'll see more snow taking over our area. And yes, the snow looks to stick. So for those of you traveling overnight, maybe you work third shift, this is something you want to keep in mind. A winter weather advisory already in place for most of the region. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. Keeping our eyes on a two-car crash reported just a few minutes ago. This is the area we're talking about, I-264 East at Breckenridge Lane. Again, no reports of injuries, but you're going to want to watch your speed through there after a two-car crash reported just a little bit ago. Otherwise, still keeping an eye on a disabled vehicle at 71 South at 265. Your drive times right now through the metro, 10 minutes and under. Make it a great morning. We'll see you in 25 minutes.
Good morning. Thanks for staying with us here for Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell. So many people wondering about the snow that's going to roll in tonight. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew and our entire storm tracking team will stay on top of that, and they'll keep you updated here on Wave Now throughout the day. But first, Metro voters who live in Kentucky's District 37 will soon get to decide their next state senator today. In these days of early voting, people have three options, and they all have different policy priorities. Wave News reporter Julia Richardson tells us more about the three candidates on the ballot.
David Yates represented Kentucky's 37th Senate District for nearly 4 years. In 2024, Yates was reelected with about 60% of the vote against Calvin Leach, who is running again. Leach, the Republican nominee, is an Army veteran and a lifelong resident of the South End.
This is my second try at this seat, and long story short, I'm not affiliated with the Jefferson County ruling class. I am not connected to anybody in a high place. I'm just an ordinary tax-paying citizen who is tired of my life being affected by people in those positions.
Gary Clemens, the Democratic nominee, is also an Army veteran and president of Louisville's chapter of United Steelworkers Local.
My involvement with the working people, negotiating contracts, safety, pensions, healthcare, and everything like that is a big part of me. And that is why I'm making this move to the Senate, because I want to take that style of voice and that style of enthusiasm to the Senate floor, because the working people is just getting left behind.
And Wendy Higdon, who is running as a libertarian, is a surgical technologist by trade and also a foster parent.
The thing that I bring to the table is kind of not being part of the two-party system. I'm coming from trying to be a humble servant in our community, you know, asking the people how they feel, voting based on what we need, what I see, right? You're supposed to be like a representative of your actual community.
I asked each candidate what they think is the biggest issue District 37 is facing right now.
It's hard to pinpoint one specific issue. I would probably start with infrastructure.
Cost of living, cost of living is definitely the biggest issue right now.
For me personally, it's JCPS and the education system.
With next year being a budget year for the General Assembly, each candidate shared their approach with me about getting funding for their district. Leach said he'd advocate for more funding for infrastructure projects. Clemens said he is open to learning from other politicians and community members about a good approach. Higdon said she would be conservative with funding because she thinks the state is spending too much already and wants to get that under control. I also asked each candidate their approach and ideas around public safety.
KSP intervention or possibly military intervention as well with respect to the National Guard MPs. If the level of crime rises to if it rises to a point where it's severe enough to warrant that.
I know how we deal with them in the workplaces, to how that can now be taken into neighborhoods and the cities. I will work on that. Definitely want to make sure safety is a priority. Kids shouldn't be scared to go on the bus stop. Kids should not be scared to be going to school. Kids shouldn't be scared at school.
I believe education is a key to that. The less educated you are, the more apt you are to be in trouble or to be by law enforcement.
A spokesperson for the Jefferson County Clerk's Office says there are 75,000 people in District 37 who are registered to vote. For more information about polling locations, just head over to the story on wave3.com. Floyd County is rolling out new technology to help people receive emergency alerts after a ransomware attack crippled their previous system. The county was previously using the Code Red alert system before it was compromised last month. The issue forced them to stop using the platform. For weeks, they've been working on their new emergency alert program. This system allows them to send out alerts about emergencies to people, such as severe weather, unexpected road closures, missing people, and evacuations of buildings and neighborhoods. You can sign up for the alerts right now on the emergency agency website. Another warning from police this morning as LMPD says car break-ins are on the rise in Louisville. Police say the number of cars broken into is up by more than 10% when compared to last year. Chief Paul Humphrey says officers are focusing on catching the thieves by using their drone program when a suspect leaves the scene of a crime. People living in Norton Commons say car break-ins have become the norm there. One neighbor who wanted to remain anonymous says his car window was smashed 3 times in just the past 6 months.
These people, they run around here essentially free. It's free game. If they see a car that's sitting for more than a couple of days, they hit it.
While break-ins are on the rise, LMPD says the number of stolen cars is down almost 20% when compared to last year. A judge will not remove himself from a lawsuit as a former Metro employee says the mayor's office wrongfully terminated her. The employee's lawyer says the judge has shown support for Mayor Craig Greenberg in the past. Former Assistant Facilities Director Jessica Thornton claims she was wrongfully fired from the Greenberg administration. Her attorneys filed a motion for recusal, asking Judge Mitch Perry to step down. They say Judge Perry attended a political fundraiser for then-candidate Greenberg, co-hosted by his wife, showing his support for the candidate.
That would raise questions as to whether or not the judge can be neutral in this case. And that's the standard, is whether or not there's a reasonable basis, a reasonable question of impartiality.
Attorneys also point to Perry's years as a county attorney defending the Metro in similar cases. Judge Perry defended his decisions to stay on the case.
Is we cannot fear, here's a quote, public clamor or alarm. Judges should not recuse simply because somebody's shining a light on them. So I fully respect your right to do it, but I firmly deny it and will not voluntarily recuse from this case. So that's my ruling. I will put that in writing.
Thornton's attorneys will have 30 days to appeal. Judge Perry says he has never sponsored any political event. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes with what Kentucky lawmakers say they want to tackle in next year's General Assembly. Kentucky lawmakers say they're ready to tackle a number of healthcare topics during next year's General Assembly. Reporter Phil Pendleton has more on what new data was presented to lawmakers and how it could impact the overall healthcare of the state.
Good morning. With the budget year looming, Kentucky lawmakers will be presented with numerous requests, and healthcare always looms large.
When it comes to Medicaid, we've gone from just under $10 billion about 5 or 6 years ago. Now we're over $20 billion. So it's accelerated in terms of the cost.
Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Committee met for several hours Wednesday, hearing of a number of bill requests.
No other disease has this far-reaching impact.
First up was former governor and Dr. Ernie Fletcher, who talked about a unique drug addiction treatment program that he calls a recovery ecosystem,
which blends the resources of clinical services, the social recovery model, and community assets of housing, transportation.
Fletcher says it takes about 9 to 12 months to heal the brain.
So his is a little bit, it's a little bit innovative. It's something that we need to continue to look at. And
lawmakers were also told of bills to reform pain management to get away from pills and possibly to prevent surgery.
The research shows that shifting to these care options offers immediate savings, not just down the road.
Wednesday's discussion follows months of meetings and ideas to juggle costs versus need.
Have better efficiencies in delivering the services, but we also want to make sure that the benefits, the health benefits to those folks who are on this are getting the care that they need.
Much of what is happening follows another bill that was passed earlier this year. That's House Bill 695.
The next legislative session begins on January 6th. Across the river, Indiana lawmakers might debate the use of phones in schools. Lawmakers are weighing what's called a bell-to-bell proposal. It would tighten cell phone restrictions in K-12 schools by making students securely store their devices on campus or leave them at home for the entire day. Some leaders say it's possible amendments and a vote could reach the full chamber in just 1 month. Indiana already enacted a statewide cell phone restriction law in 2024, but it currently only keeps students from using devices during instructional time, with some exceptions. We're also learning Indiana State Representative Becky Cash is introducing a bill to end the current backlog of untested rape kits. Cash argues there's a lack of equipment and staffing. She says her bill would give state police $2.5 million to pay for staffing and get the equipment needed to conduct the tests. Cash says her goal is to help prosecutors get justice for sexual assault survivors.
I very much want victims of assault to get justice. And I do also want those who are innocent to be exonerated. So I tell people I would encourage my daughters, if they are assaulted, as hard as I know it would be, to go in and to press charges. But then all of us need the justice system to work.
Indiana state senators are also expected to vote today on a redistricting bill that would change Indiana's. Meanwhile, community members in southern Indiana are protesting the Trump administration's policy on immigration. The group Do Something Southern Indiana hosted a demonstration outside the Clark County Courthouse Wednesday. The group has organized protests since the county jail started housing ICE detainees back in April. Group member Kathy Collings talked about the impact of seeing ICE agents in their community.
What is scary about it is that you have individuals who are masked, don't say who they are often, seizing people off the street based on the color of their skin. And they can say it's not profiling, but in fact, it is.
The group was also concerned about the amount of money the county receives for every ICE detainee. They claim the money associated with the program incentivizes detention. President Trump says the U.S. is taking control of an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. A person familiar with the matter said the tanker was headed to Cuba. President Trump did not offer a detailed explanation for the move, saying only that it was seized for very good reason. He signaled the administration would soon release additional information. The Venezuelan government is calling the seizure an act of international piracy. Tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela. U.S. military has targeted boats off the coast of the country. President Trump claims the boats attacked are targeting the drug trade. Some Democratic lawmakers say the strikes may have violated the laws governing the use of deadly military force. For a second time this year, a federal judge is ordering the White House to end its deployment of California National Guard troops in Los Angeles. The judge ruled the federal government kept the troops in LA illegally after what were called emergency conditions this summer ended. The Trump administration is expected to appeal the decision. President Trump argued the National Guard was needed to protect federal property during demonstrations over immigration raids. Right now, there are about 100 federalized troops deployed in Los Angeles. On the West Coast, the potentially historic flooding in Washington state is forcing thousands to evacuate. Amy Kiley reports on how it's devastating parts of the Pacific Northwest.
Officials are advising about 100,000 people to evacuate certain areas of Washington state. An atmospheric river is causing heavy rainfall, flooding, and mudslides.
The situation is extremely serious. The next few days are going to be very critical.
The governor says he declared a state of emergency since some rivers could reach historic levels. Video shows water rescues in multiple areas.
I found myself stuck on a little piece of land out there with my 4 cats and had to wade through water up to my chest in order to get to dry land. It was very cold and very swift.
In South Central Washington, shelters are caring for some rescuees.
So what we're doing right now is we're providing obviously shelter beds, meals, dry clothes, a place for their pets.
Officials say at least 2 major mudslides have blocked parts of I-90. This Seattle area gas station is damaged.
It's a lot of sand.
And in Northwest Washington, sandbag volunteers are shoring up an old dike system along the Skagit River.
At a time like this, it's all hands on deck.
Forecasters say dangers will continue into Friday.
The impact on Washingtonians is significant now, and it's going to be significant in the coming days, and that is an understatement.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament picks back up today with Sweet 16 action, and 3 teams from our area are still dancing. So with 15 of the top 16 teams advancing, the one-seeded Cats will face off today against Cal Poly, the one team to win in an upset in its first 2 rounds. The Mustangs knocked off BYU and USC in their route to the Sweet 16. The winner between the Cats and the Mustangs will take on the winner of 2-seeded Arizona State and 3rd-seeded Creighton. Today's match from historic Memorial Coliseum in Lexington starts at 3:30, and you can watch that game on ESPN2. U of L women's volleyball team will face a tougher opponent in their Sweet 16 matchup tomorrow. The 2-seeded Cards will take on 3-seeded Texas A&M in the team's 11th ever NCAA tournament regional semifinal. Louisville advanced to the Lincoln Regional Semifinal following a sweep of Loyola Chicago in the first round and a 5-set victory over Marquette in the second round. The Cards and the Aggies face off at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. So the team with the toughest opponent, though, the Indiana Hoosiers, they'll face off against 1-seeded Texas tomorrow afternoon. Program history is on the line as the Hoosiers make their second appearance ever in the NCAA regional semifinals. Indiana swept both Toledo and Colorado last week to get themselves into the Sweet 16. They play tomorrow at noon, and you can watch that game on ESPN. More Indiana football history was made as head coach Curt Cignetti and quarterback Fernando Mendoza were honored by the Walter Camp Football Foundation with National of the Year awards. Cignetti earned the Walter Camp National Coach of the Year award, while Mendoza was named the Walter Camp Award winner, which is presented to the nation's most outstanding player. Both were awarded by a vote by the nation's 156 FBS head coaches and sports communicators. Cignetti became the first coach to win consecutive Walter Camp National Coach of the Year honors in the award's 59-year history. As for Mendoza, it's a step in the right direction because he's eyeing the Heisman Trophy, and that one will be awarded this weekend. Looking ahead to the weekend, though, the Kentucky Expo Center will be lit up for the annual Christmas Gift and Decor Show. It's happening inside South Wing C starting Friday through Sunday. This year's show will have more than 700 booths showcasing their holiday displays. Kids will even get the chance to meet and take pictures with Santa Claus himself. Admission for that is free. Visitors to Indiana State House this December will see something new in this year's decorations. It's a display honoring early childhood literacy across the state. First Lady Maureen Braun unveiled a first-of-its-kind Christmas display at the State House featuring these hand-painted ornaments that are designed to showcase participating Indiana counties and their participation in the local Dolly Parton Imagination Library programs. All 92 counties are represented as they were asked to decorate each ornament in a way that reflects their county and their community's imagination library. The resulting ornaments now adorn one of the 3 Christmas trees located in the State House atrium, and they are incredible too. The detail that they're able to put into those small little ornaments is so impressive. That's all the time we have here for Sunrise Extra. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you keep up with us on Wave Now, wave3.com, and on air. We'll be letting you know about that snow that's coming in later tonight. We'll see if those kids have school tomorrow morning. I'm sure they're going to be crossing their fingers. That's all we have here for Sunrise Extra, though. See you tomorrow morning.